Welcome to Live at the Blue Box. It is now time for a instant microcon. Last week we had another microcon. Its name, this is my last chance to say it. Can you say it? Wait, is your mic on?
No. Now
Molly,
it's on.
let's hear the name.
B2C2 SDC2 NWXNW.
Yes. The easiest applause you'll ever get in your life, kid. So, yeah, that was the con last time. The first one was called B2C2, Blue Box Comic Con. The other one is Blue Box Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, Midwest by Northwest. That way, it's all out there.
That is awful.
Yeah, it's terrible. We also did a Doctor Who one called Extremaganza, which was awesome.
Oh.
Hooapalooza,
No.
Extremaganza. We kept changing the name throughout the night.
Yeah,
So tonight,
it was Hooapalooza. It was so bad.
tonight we have the minuscule con, but it's more like the Instacon, right? Just add coffee. Here's why this happened. You're the reason, David. And then you guys are the reason later. So we did the microcon last week. We wrote to some different artists that we know, and we knew David, and we were like, hey, do you want to come out and be on the microcon? And he said, great. Can I be on the 18th? Well, that's not when the microcon is. Yes, we'll have you on. So that's how we ended up ditching what we would normally do and saying, let's do an interview. And then we thought, well, we should do that. And we wrote to Alejandro, who is going to be coming up after you, David. And Alejandro was like, yeah, I'd love to come out. Because Elgin Library was having the Comic Book Mania comic book convention this weekend. So you're all in town. You're all here. So then we went over there, and then the rest of you attention-grabbing, wanted to come out. No, actually, we just met all you guys. We're like, would you like to be on? It would be awesome. So we created the Instacon, which is what we are having tonight. So now we are ready. I don't know everybody's names. David and Rene. Well, I knew David, but Rene. I want both of you guys to come up. Hey,
Okay.
Molly, is there another stool over there?
Yeah.
Hey, Mal.
Yeah.
You come down here. Molly is going to join us for part of this, because she's a big fan of David's. No, Mal? You got enough stools? Okay. Give them the microphone. It is now. Here, you guys get this microphone.
Okay.
When it's time for your questions, I'll hand you the mic, okay?
And when I get to say my name.
Yes.
Either I flick you or I keep pushing you to get it because you're talking.
Yeah, okay. So, I'm going to have you guys introduce yourselves. Thank you guys so much for coming. This is awesome. On the end.
Hi, I'm Rene Castellano.
And Rene, we'll talk about what you do. And you are?
David Gruba.
Okay. We do have a special interviewer that we are going to bring up. I know she wants to say her name, so let's let her say her name.
I am Molly Southgate. I would like to say that I'm one of the owners.
Yes, she's one of the owners of Southgate Media Group. Yes. So, Rene and David, you guys are essentially Instant Press, right?
Instant Press Comics, yeah.
So is that your company?
Yes.
It's your company.
It's
Yes.
our company.
Together. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lazy eye, you know. Okay, so you guys, this is your thing together. That's awesome. Now, how long have you been doing this?
Instant Press Comics.
13 years.
13 years. Wow.
Thank you.
But obviously you were doing other stuff before that, it sounds like.
Yes,
huh?
yes. We actually got together in the early 90s.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what were you doing then?
Zines.
What else was there to do?
Yes. Martha and I started with zines, too. Two idiots sitting on their couch with a computer and a handy scan. Now we're two idiots. Yeah, two idiots sitting on a couch with an MP3 recorder is what we've turned into. So you did zines. Were they comic book zines, or were they?
Actually, they were It's hard to explain. At that time, I was writing short stories, not comic books. But I wanted to do something with comics, and I met Rene, who was doing his own comic, and so I decided to do a zine that had my short stories, his comic, and then we also put like convention listings in there as well.
Cool. And what was the name of the zine?
Grubmaster Pieces.
Oh, all right. Now, did you sell it at Quimby's Queer Store in Chicago?
No.
No, you never did.
We just went to cons mostly.
Just to cons, because
Yeah.
Quimby's still. If you still have old
yeah.
copies, send them over there. They'll put them up on the wall. They still have zines, man. You know what's weird about the whole zine thing? Like, we were doing it back then, and like my friends that did zines like won an Eisner Award. I'm like,
Really?
how did that happen?
Yeah,
The other guy, we're at Quimby's, and they had like somebody made a documentary about him as a zine guy. I'm like, when did this happen? And how did it all miss us? Like, completely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they were right. Somebody get her a mic. So you guys did zine.
She doesn't need a mic. She's loud enough.
Oh, well played. So you guys did a zine back then. You eventually got into comics. Now, you do Tales of the Wolf Man.
Correct.
Was there something in between there, or was that when you went like, you know what, this is the comic I want to do?
Actually, I'll let Rene take that one.
What was it?
We initially when Instant Press set out, it was we had a group of writers and artists who were creators of comics, and Rene put Instant Press Comics together to publish those people.
Okay. That makes sense.
Oh, yeah. So it's an
Hey,
interview,
Rene,
right?
wake
I
up.
gotta talk. No, yeah. I was just kind of taken after Dave because Dave was trying to get a group of people to do these zines, and then that kind of fell apart. Sorry, Jerry. And then years later, I formed my own company. I searched out Dave, and then we got together, and we were working on our own ideas. And it wasn't until years later, when none of the ideas were coming out, that we decided we would just collaborate and work on a project together, which was Wolfman.
Excellent. Now, you have other books. There are other writers and artists involved with Instant Press, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Because those, like, Are You There, Cthulhu is
Right.
not you, correct?
No, it is not us.
Are they still producing books through you?
Those two guys, the artist of that lives in Italy.
Okay.
And I met him online. He's a really great artist. And the writer for that, right now, I believe, lives in Portland. And he's a phenomenal writer. The artist works for Xenoscope right now.
Okay.
So he's doing a lot of projects. He just did like Robin Hood, and he's doing some other
Like
some
Wonderland.
Wonderland and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
So he's getting recognition, but I actually was the first person to publish him here in the States. So
Okay.
I take credit for that. You're welcome, Manuel. I published a miniseries of his, Distant, which he tried to shop around in Italy. They don't like the manga style. They only like the French style, from what he said.
Yeah, right. They want it to
So-
all look like Mobius.
Like Mobius, yeah, exactly. Just
Heavy
people like
metal.
that.
If
Yes.
it doesn't look like heavy metal, they're not interested.
They did not want it. And he could draw like that.
That was inside baseball for those of you that don't know what we were talking about.
But yeah, so I told him we publish everything over here. So I distributed the books here. Diamond distributed his books here. It did pretty well. And then he did the Cthulhu book. He did one other book for us. And it's been a Bakerville, yeah. So it's been a great relationship with him.
Now,
and the
are they
writer,
still doing stuff for you, or are other people still doing stuff for you? Is Instant Press really?
Well, we're still working
You
with Dan
guys.
Phillips. He did Starbomb. He just wrapped up the series not too long ago.
Okay.
And he's a really great artist. He's doing a new one-shot or a mini-series for us that's going to be coming out next year. But I don't have the title for it yet.
All right.
But yeah, we're working.
Look at him
with
seeding the
ourselves.
ground there. Oh, you'll have to listen later, and I'll tell you eventually.
But yeah, we still work with some people, but mainly Dave and I want to grow the company with our own ideas. So he's got White Knife that he's been working on. I've got Dorks, and we work on those in between working on Wolfman.
So those are also what you're publishing. But Wolfman is, it seems like it's getting attention.
Yeah, that's probably one of our. That's probably yes. Molly is our biggest fan, and that's enough for us.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to actually let her ask her questions because I have a feeling I'm going to cross into her territory if I go too much further. Because I want to talk about a lot of this, and then I want to talk about the Kickstarter for sure. Because they have a Kickstarter, and everybody needs to take note of this Kickstarter. So here,
Yes,
Molly,
please.
ask your questions.
What inspired you to write a story about Wolfman?
I'm a big fan of the old Universal monsters. Thank you. And there's one other fan out there, at least. And I
know another one.
I was actually setting out to try and write like a real horror title using Wolfman, and
Then you failed miserably because this is not a real horror title.
and that's about how it usually goes. No.
But what's
So
the tagline that we use?
what was the tagline?
Oh, the tagline that we use is, this is a horror comic about marriage.
There you go. So anyway, I started thinking about Red Riding Hood and how to fit that in there, and then all of a sudden my mind went to cartoon stuff, and that's when I put the spin on the whole thing and just went with it. And so I did fail miserably on a true horror comic, but I think I did pretty well on a cartoon comic.
I like Red Riding Hood because I find her a kick-butt little Red Riding Hood. Who's your favorite character?
Who's my favorite character in it?
From Wolfman.
From Wolfman? Oh, it'd have to be the Wolfman. Because he's always, getting in trouble.
Oh, he's funny.
Nothing like you, I'm assuming.
Well, Rene always points out that some of the inspiration for the stories does come from my own marriage, so.
You like your steaks rare, too?
Not that rare.
What was school like for you?
School? I think it was pretty good. I was a bit of a nerd. Imagine that. In high school, I was on the TV staff. So how about that? We had our own TV studio. And no, we weren't AV. Those AV guys were the real nerds. We were TV. And I also was on we had a school literary magazine that I worked on as well.
Okay. What was school like for you?
Interesting. Just a lot of drawing. I did a lot of drawing. So.
Okay. Did it foster your writing and your art? Or did you use your writing or your art as an escape?
Yeah, I used to also draw when I was younger, and I like to draw my own comics as well. And so I guess it was a little bit of an escape, but the writing high school probably did help my writing along, especially with working on the literary magazine.
Yeah. Well, as far as art, I drew all the time. Like when I wasn't doing schoolwork, I was just drawing and drawing and drawing. So coming home from school, that's all I did. And it was an escape. It really was an escape, and I just enjoyed it. It was a great escape, so.
Okay. Do you work in other mediums like pottery? That's what my mom said. Like, what if he does pottery
Other than
and we
writing?
don't know what it is?
I do still tend to draw from time to time, but I don't do it that often. I've done painting recently and didn't enjoy it very much, so I found it a little nerve-wracking. So I kind of stick with the writing.
Other mediums? Well,
what types of art are you involved in?
well, I do graphic design. Okay. So I'm actually going to school for graphic design.
He
so
crochets, too.
Cross stitch? No. My mom did that.
And then just a funny side note as far as other mediums, Dave and I took guitar lessons together for a while.
We did.
So.
And we don't play guitar.
Oh, you knew where I was going to go there. Like, you're going to bust out those guitars and play for us? Classical gas, like over and over.
Okay. Do you work exclusively in comics, or do you write other things?
Oh, I also write short stories. That's kind of how I started out writing with short stories. It wasn't until like the early 90s that I thought I'd take a crack at comics. And I still do write short stories as well. I belong to a writing group, and just to keep that going.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good
Oh,
night.
wait.
Wait.
Oh, wait,
Well,
hold on. We have something for you.
Wait.
Yes?
Here.
Since you're our biggest fan and you just interviewed us, Rene drew this great sketch card for you.
Oh, thank
Of
you.
Red. It's a card of Red interviewing Wolf.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
wow, thank you. That's so cool.
You're welcome.
So,
I can only take credit for telling Rene to draw it.
He did. And then 10 minutes after I started, he said, "Oh, you know what you should do? Is draw Red interviewing Wolf." And I said, "I'm already drawing that."
writers, right?
Right, yeah.
They got all the ideas, they think.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, okay. I want to hear, we got two of you here, so we got to figure out how to balance these. I'm going to do the same questions I was talking to the other guys about.
Okay.
I want to talk about, first of all, you're writing short stories. Do you have a particular genre you like to write in?
Not a particular genre, but my influence is Robert E. Howard.
Okay.
Who everybody knows as the creator of Conan, but he was a pulp writer, and he wrote westerns and horror and Tales of the Sea. I mean, he wrote a lot more than just Conan or fantasy.
Yeah, he wrote,
and so
he wrote a ton. In fact, there's a studio that recently got the rights to his catalog.
Really?
So I've heard that like all these weird things and different things that he wrote are like in development. All these different things. They're like,
Yeah.
this is a cottage industry right here that people don't even realize. All they know is Conan.
Yeah, and he wrote so much in such a short lifespan. You know, he died in his early, I believe he was like 30. He committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
But he wrote so much,
Debbie
and
Downer.
so he is a big influence on my writing, the style. Most of my short stories are short, and so I wouldn't say I write in a particular genre, but I write in a particular style.
That makes a lot of sense. So did you like? Speaking of Conan and that whole thing, are you a fan of like the Conan comics?
Oh yeah, I really like the Savage Sword of Conan, the
Yeah.
magazine.
That was
I
fantastic.
collected that for a long time. I really love that one.
The Alfredo Alcala did the artwork
Yes,
back then, which
he
is
was
just
yeah.
stunning artwork, I think. Like Renee's over there like, no, it's not as good as my Wolfman. No, I'm kidding. He would never say that, I'm sure.
It's better.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing stuff. Well, that's interesting. So I get that, though. So you don't really have a genre, but it is that pulp arena that you're kind of in.
Yeah, one person described my short stories as either somebody dies or there's already a dead body in there. So that's how most of my stories go.
It's your starting point. Like you were in a writing class and they went, there's a dead body in the room. You're like, I'm going to use this in everything I write. Now, do you publish your short stories?
I did. I have a short story collection that I did as a zine called Gruba Fiction. And really, I put it together because we'd go to comic book shows and artists can show their sketchbooks and things like that. I can't make people read my stuff, you
Right.
know. So I did
We're
what
going to stand here for 20 minutes and read this.
Right. So I did what I called a writer's sketchbook, and it basically was just a sampler of 4 short stories by me.
Okay.
And I want to do more of those, and I did it in the zine style, just because I thought that was a nice way to do it.
Yeah.
And it had a nice pulp cover. So I hope to do more of those. But I also have had short stories published in a literary magazine called the Backstreet Journal, and because I worked it was a writing group that I belonged to.
Very cool. How about you, Rene? Who would you say inspired you?
A lot of the comic strip artists, really, that's what I grew up with. So
Strips or
comic strips, yeah.
Okay.
So
who would you cite?
the most obvious, looking at the Wolfman stuff, would be Bill Watterson, and a lot of people.
Yeah, I see that in there.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me about that, or a lot of people come up and go, "Oh, it's Hobbs and Calvin. Why is Calvin a girl?" It's just like,
Really? See, no, it's funny. I
have
see the
gotten
style,
that.
but I don't see that in it.
I've gotten that. So.
So they try to get you to draw red peeing on like
No,
GM
no,
and things like that.
I wish they would. We could probably make a lot of money.
Yeah, right. Somebody made some money off that. I don't know if Bill Watterson did.
You could draw that. No.
Yeah.
He licensed one calendar. That was it. Yeah, that was it. But that's the heavy influence. But that was kind of on purpose because for whatever reason, I just thought of doing Wolfman in a comic strip style. But my comic book influence is Jeff Smith.
Okay.
Which is
Bone. Yeah, Bone.
Yeah, Bone. So that's a huge, huge influence.
Yeah.
So if you ever looked at Dorks, you'll see more of the influence in there.
Oh,
than you do
okay.
in
Now, what is
Wolfman.
Dorks about? Dorks, I know.
Dorks.
Okay, Captain Obvious. What is it about?
It's a comic that I did in high school, and it was about this one character who wants to create a gang, but to him, a gang is a group of people that hang out and have fun because he didn't have any friends, and his family abandoned him and all this stuff.
That sounds like us. We play like a D&D game here every Monday night. That's our game. We're flashing symbols here. 20-sided symbols. Oh, I got Rene on that one. Sorry, man.
Yeah, not that.
So they're a gang of dorks.
Well, it was supposed to be. Well, that's the leader's idea of what a gang was. The people he recruited didn't take it that way. They thought they were going to go out and spray paint and.
So they thought they were a
beat
gang.
up people, right? So there's.
Not a gaggle, but a gang.
Exactly. So
Yes.
they thought it was a gang. He thought it was like, hey, gang, let's go hang out like the Archies.
Like on Mayberry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, gang.
Hey, gang, let's go hang out.
Richie Cunningham. Come on, gang.
Back in Dave's day.
Yes.
Oh, sadly mine too.
But that's what Dorks is kind of about. Is it's just this hodgepodge of characters who just have a different conflict of what they're supposed to do, and a lot of it just is kind of it's just weird because most of the time they just end up arguing about what to do and they don't really do anything. So
Great.
Yeah.
So it's a comic about nothing. I think there was a show about nothing that was successful. You might have the key ingredients there.
yeah, wasn't that The Good Wife or?
Yeah, The Good Wife. That's nothing I want to watch is what that show's about. So, now you're still making dorks.
I still am, yeah. I'm still working on it. Don't tell Dave because he thinks I'm focusing on Wolfman.
Only on Wolfman, yes. Now, how often do you put a Wolfman out?
Not often enough.
Yeah,
I'm
Molly's-
sure. Yeah. She's going to start sending us hate mail pretty soon. Hate email, I should say.
She's going to be a producer. She is going to be up everybody's rear end. Not fast enough and make the quality better.
No, I mean,
Stop ripping off Bill Watterson.
I can honestly say I'm waiting on a script so I can draw.
and I can honestly say I'm writing a script.
Excellent.
But,
a lot of honesty here. A lot of sharing.
good thing this is a podcast. You can't see Rene shaking his head. Anyway.
Yeah, but Meerkat can.
Oh.
Yeah, we have a live stream.
Oh, great.
We're on the YouTube.
I'm glad I wore pants.
I am so glad you wore pants. And frankly, this is one of the rare times I'm podcasting with pants too. So
No, I mean, we would like to be like on a schedule where we would say we're going to put out this many
What's a schedule?
Wolfman issues, but, between other things, it's kind of hard to do that.
Sure.
But we try to put out an issue often enough that people remember it and people will still want it.
now, do you find that you're selling them in stores, or is it mainly people coming to you at cons?
Mostly, more so at cons. We have it in a few stores, but we do much better at cons, and we actually, locally get, a following, people like Molly,
Yes.
who run up to you and say, I love the Wolfman. I mean, that was the best thing ever at C2E2.
Yeah.
Yes.
The next thing was,
And luckily, we did have a new one. She
why
hadn't
aren't
read
you
yet,
writing
so-
right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Luckily, we had
Get
time.
on the
Of,
podcast and right.
yeah, we had Time of the Wolfman for her, so that was good. But yeah,
What's
we
Time
just,
of the Wolfman?
Time of the Wolfman is actually an homage to Doctor Who.
What?
Yes.
We're down with that.
But anyway, so yeah. So we get people who come up to us and they'll ask us, do you have a new Wolfman book? Or they'll just come up and talk to us and tell us how they like Wolfman. So really the cons are probably the better place that we get them sold.
Now, I'm kind of surprised because I read Bride of the Wolfman today, and I loved it.
Just
I-
today,
thank
we
you.
met you like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But Molly had it. She was sitting reading it on the couch, and she got up, and I grabbed it and read through it. I'm like, yep, I love it. And
Thank you.
And
Thank
I
you.
love the artwork. I love the writing. I love the whole thing. You know what? It struck me though. It did remind me of a kid's book, which is not a bad thing at all. I'm a big fan of that. But it reminded me specifically of James Marshall, and like George and Martha and the Stupids and that whole thing. I was like reading it, going, I could see this being one of those because they're written in a way that they're not. It's not it is a kid's book, but it
Right.
doesn't talk down to the kids.
No.
And as an adult, I could read it just like a strip, just like Watterson stuff, and go, I really dig this. I mean, I loved when he's going out to play poker,
Yeah.
and his wife catches him, and I love the rare steak was the best part. You know?
Well, I
Ooh.
have to give props to Rene on the rare steak. I only wrote that line as
And
very
he-
rare steak. He made it a live calf.
Which was the best.
Well, I read
So-
the script and I said, how do you illustrate rare steak in black and white?
Oh, that's a
no idea.
rare steak. Well, and you know what's funny is it added dimension to the character, which is really cool. Because like when you saw it happen earlier in the book, it added that element. So when she said rare steak later in the book, I knew what was going to happen. I was like, that's really a cool lay in there. So it is nice that the art enhances the writing and
Yeah.
it works hand in hand. So that's really cool. Now, are there any other projects on the horizon
Other than Wolfman, you mean?
other than Wolfman?
Well,
Like, have you taken a short story and gone, you know what? I want to do this.
Well, when there was some project that Dave and I were working on that didn't fully develop, but when I read his script for that project, I was just in love with that script, and I said, you know what? You really have this knack for writing, like kids stuff, like Saturday morning type cartoons and everything. And I
Yeah.
said, I had a character called Chow that I just never fully developed, and I said, why don't you write that? Because he showed interest in that character. I said, you write it, and I'll draw it. It's my character, it's
Yeah.
my stuff. But I said, you know what? You take it over, and I'll do it. So we're going to do a one-shot on that.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun. All right.
we
It's called
actually
Chow?
Chow. It's a space cat.
Space
Space
Cat.
Cat.
Yeah.
Hey, Molly actually was writing a story called Space Cat.
Oh no, copyrighted. Sorry.
And I think he has ADD, so
Oh, that's
We'll do a
okay.
crossover.
Okay, yeah, we could do a crossover. Yeah, we could do Space Cats.
Space Cats.
Yeah, actually, we have
Yeah, with a Z.
with a
Andrew,
Z.
And Andrew Lloyd Webber is already on the phone suing all of us.
We actually have in our we do once in a while we do an instant press book, which is like a sampler.
Yeah.
And our latest one has a Wolfman story, a Chow story, a Dork story, and also a Rebels story, which is another property of Renee's. So we kind of have done. I wrote the Chow and the Dork stories in those, so we've kind of collaborated on those characters already. But yeah, we are planning a Chow one shot.
Ooh, exciting. So anybody listening at home or anywhere, go to the cons, go to your website. I'm sure you list where you're going to be and find these guys. We've loved every time we see you guys, we talk to you. It's like that's why we had to have you out. It's just always a good
Thank you.
time.
Thank you.
And I just really enjoy your work. Obviously, Molly enjoys the work quite a bit. And that's the biggest thing you're looking for is
Yes.
that generations can enjoy it to that degree,
Yes.
Yeah. Well, like I enjoyed Watterson as a kid. I'm glad that there are kids that are enjoying my work.
Yeah,
So-
I get that. Well, and she reads Watterson.
Oh,
and
nice.
She I had the anthologies, and she boom right through them. Loves it. She read all the Peanuts books. Big Charles Schultz
Wow,
fan.
yes.
And we have a cousin that gave her all the old ones from the 60s and 70s,
nice.
like a big box. This kid read it in a month. She was like, done. Like, holy cow. That guy's whole life work, you read it a week. What the? No, but so I get that. It's really cool getting that kind of connection. So,
Yeah.
So what do you guys got coming up? Cons coming up soon? Anything people can see you at?
We actually are going to be part of a graphic novel symposium.
The symposium.
Yes, Renee likes that word. Yes, it sounds very fancy. It's with Moraine Valley Community College, and this is, I believe, their third year doing it. So we are going to actually do a talk on creating and publishing comics, along with Kraken Print, who are going to talk about actually printing comics.
Excellent.
And that's on September 30th at Moraine Valley Community College.
Cool. And can they find that on like your website?
They will after tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
If you want, you can find us on social media too, though. If you follow us on Facebook, Instant Press Comics, we post everything on there as well. We're also on Instagram and Twitter.
Excellent. Definitely follow these guys. Now, one last thing before our next guest comes up. You guys have a Kickstarter out there.
That's correct.
Talk about it. Tell them how they can support you.
The Kickstarter is Tales of the Wolfman, and this is a anthology book. We go to so many cons. We meet a lot of people at those cons, other creators, artists, and we've gotten to know a lot of them over the years. And we thought it would be cool to get their take on our characters.
Yeah.
So this book
love that.
This book
And
has.
I don't have to draw.
Well, you do have to draw
I love
one.
that even more, right?
But yeah, the book will actually collect Time of the Wolfman and Feast of the Wolfman by Rene and I, plus a new short from us. And then there are, I think like 8 other comics in there by other artists, as well as some pinups. Ali Cantarella
Yep.
is one of them.
She's a fan or a
Justin
friend of our
Castaneda,
network.
who was
Justin,
just at the
amazing
show.
artist.
Angel Anafri, Youssef. I'm going to get his name wrong.
Youssef.
Youssef. It's easier that way. Gabriel Batista,
You know
Andy Cordy, Jeff Courtier, Jay Fosgett did a variant cover for us. Catherine and Sarah Satrin, who are animators.
We're friends with them.
Yeah, they're
Oh, yeah.
fantastic.
They're
doing.
awesome.
They actually did the back cover for us.
Did they? Their stuff is so great. The Satrin
is.
sisters, love
Yeah.
it.
I
Yeah.
saw that, and right away I said, we have to get them to do something.
Yeah, and so we went with the back cover with them, and so there's a lot of people involved in it. It is a trade, and we're just trying to raise the money to print it professionally.
Excellent. You got a goal? I know you have
Our
stretch goals
goal,
in that, but what's
our
the
goal is $5,000. We are currently at
We're currently
37
at 3740.
All right, you're on your
3740.
way. How much longer?
well, we only have about 40 hours left.
Oh my gosh!
Yes.
So
Okay,
if you
so people, I don't know if this is going to be on in time, but people at home, if you want to support Tales of the Wolfman and make this thing happen, get on that Kickstarter right now. They just look up Tales of the Wolfman.
if you go to
right?
Kickstarter.com and search Tales of the Wolfman, you will find it.
So we got another $1,300-$1,400 to go to
Correct,
make this
correct.
happen.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh,
and
boy.
I mean, it's a great, it's the money is going towards printing a very nice, thicker book than what you're used to.
Yeah.
And it's, there's a couple of expenses. So the printing, the shipping, and then just compensation. So all
I
the
wish
money,
we'd had you on here a week ago so we could have talked about this. Oh, no.
Well,
Yeah,
a week ago,
but,
we did a Kickstarter push party at
Yeah,
Hard
we did
Boiled
that last
Coffee
week.
last week, and it got some people out and got us some pledges.
Yeah.
So
Cool,
it helped.
cool. Well, hopefully, with all these people that are watching us at home, hopefully we have a good crew watching, that somebody out there will start kicking in on this Kickstarter, because that would be
That would be
awesome.
amazing,
I think it would
yes.
be fantastic to make this thing happen. You've got pocket change. You got about $1,400, right?
You got it. Come on.
Can I talk about one more thing?
Yeah, please.
I failed to mention one more thing that we're working on. We're actually doing a comic strip for a local paper.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a Southside newspaper, and they've asked us to do a comic strip, and our first strip should be out in September.
Excellent.
And
And
so
we're-
you're going to bring up the comic strip of the Wolfman that we're doing.
Oh, and also, we are working with another group who has a Kickstarter called the Sunday Comics, and they've asked us to do a Wolfman, full-color Wolfman comic strip
Wow.
for their premiere issue. So
Yeah.
we're excited about the comic strip work. We think that'll be fun.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much for
Thank you.
coming on. I hope you guys hit this goal, because I think that
Thanks.
sounds amazing. And thank you so much. Follow them. Just look for Tales of the Wolfman. Look for Instant Press. And that's it. Thank you guys
Thank you.
so
Thank you.
much. What a pleasure